Day 9. I cannot believe we're like in the home stretch of this video journey. All right, this is this second, actually the third time I'm making this video. The first time was way too long, so I decided that I had to remake it. I don't want to take up that much of your time with this. And then when I was making the second one, which was pretty much a little bit more condensed, more concise, I got a phone call and it paused and I kept talking, and like I said, I just am terrible with technology. I have to find a better way to do all of this. Okay, but we're going to get it done. And today, I'm calling today Strong and Soulful. And the reason that I'm calling it Strong and Soulful is because I want to dive a little deeper into what Strong and Soulful symbolizes for me, and also give you a list of practices that I have utilized over the past 19 years that helped heal not only my grief from 9/11, but that I've utilized pretty much to help me work through any issue that comes up in my life. And I'm praying that there's something in here that is new to you, or validates something that you're already doing. Whatever the case, I want you to create a toolbox. And this goes back to what I was saying yesterday about experimenting. If I mention something that you've never done before and it sounds enticing, try it. If you don't like it, you never have to do it again. And nobody is marking you on any of these things, right? But they're just different options. So let's get into it, because I really want to try to keep this concise and in some sort of a manageable time frame. Let's talk about Strong and Soulful. Why did I choose the word strong and soulful? First of all, you can't heal if you don't embody both of these things. Strong to me is the commitment, the dedication, the discipline to work towards your own healing, your own highest evolution. And soulful is the softness, the openness, the receptivity, the flexibility that we need to be able to take all of these practices and integrate them in the most effective way. So strong is the masculine energy, and soulful is the feminine energy. It is the black and the white, the yin and the yang, the light and the dark, or the dark and the light. You get what I'm saying, right? And when we are able to embody both of these energies, we are in that gray area, that sweet spot, that wholeness, where health and wellness and the lack of dis-ease is easier to access. Okay? So I think that gives you a clearer understanding of what strong and soulful symbolize, and how we have to embody all of that to work at our optimum level of functioning. So beginning of school, I thought that I would make a visual. You're not allowed to laugh because I already told you that I cannot even draw a stick figure. But I thought this would help us understand where all of these different practices lie. So my Venn diagram. See what an artist I am? I hope you've all seen a Venn diagram before, but if not, I'm going to explain to you exactly what this symbolizes. So right here, we have this first circle with the letter B in it. This is your body. This is your physical self. Over here, we have an M. This is your mind, your mental processes, all of that. And then down here, we have an S, your spirit, your soul. And as you can see, they're all interwoven. They all overlap one another, right? So in order for us to be holistically healthy, we cannot just work on one. We have to identify where we have pathologies or weaknesses in any of these areas and try to correct that, right? Try to heal that, try to bring it to a better level of functioning and serving us. The upside of that is that when you work on one of these, you are affecting change in the other two. So I have listed next to each circle practices that are focused mainly on these particular areas, but keep in mind that by practicing any of these, you are changing all of them. When we are able to create health in all these parts of ourselves, these different levels of ourselves, because this is literally the human operating system right here, we will fall into this area right in the center where they all meet. And when we're here and we're healthy, where you know it because you are in flow, you feel completely vibrant, everything, you have clarity, you have energy, you are open to receiving, you have the ability to give. It's all happening effortlessly. Okay, so that's where we want to land. We all want to land in that sweet spot. So now I'm going to go through each area and discuss this is by no means an all-inclusive list of tools that you could utilize, but these are things that I have experience in and that I can speak from my heart and say that they have had a positive impact on me. So I'm going to work from our lowest vibrating level, which is our body, out into our highest vibrating level, which is our soul. I know everybody thinks of it like the other way. The soul is way deep in there, but we want to have it so that everything is operating at the same and the highest capacity. In biology, we talk about the body being in homeostasis, right? This is where it's at its healthiest. But the truth is that your body is, when you're healthy, is always struggling to be in homeostasis, right? It's this delicate balancing act. So it's like you're never there and you're always there, all at the same time. It's this sacred reciprocity on a cellular level of giving and taking and pulling in and releasing, and all of that happens on the lowest level of your physical being. And it's the same thing as we progress. So you can see how all of this is tying in, right, to the past few days. So let's begin with the body. The first thing I want to talk about is nutrition. And I am not a nutritionist. I am not going to tell you what diet you should take and what's the healthiest way to eat, because that's not the point here. The point here is to be intuitive, right? The point here is to feed your body like you love it. So tend to yourself like you would tend to your children. Feed your body, give your body what it needs. However you do that is up to you. You know best what fuels you. The one thing I do want to say around this is to educate yourself around the effects of processed food and sugar, because these are the things that I have seen have the most widespread adverse effects in everyone, regardless of who you are. The other thing that I want you to revisit is, for me, growing up, being, in my 50s, I grew up with this idea of following the standard American diet. And the standard American diet is definitely not as healthy as we are led to believe that it is. So educate yourself on these things. Pay attention to what's conditioned thinking, Pay attention to what you take in and how it makes your body feel. And then go from there. But whatever you do, keep yourself hydrated, keep yourself well fed, and notice when you are, having some kind of brain fog, because a lot of that stems from diet. No diet shaming here. This has nothing to do with weight. It has nothing to do with how muscular you are. This has everything to do with creating a physical space that is open to healing. Because if you're not satisfying those basic needs, we can't address anything else, okay? Find a nutritionist if you have to, or do your own research, or just follow, your heart, whatever works for you. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is probably the most effective way to change every single one of these different parts of your being, and that is your breath. So your breath is your literal life force. It's what keeps you here on this planet. And there are ways to manipulate your breath so that you can effectively control your nervous system. Doesn't that sound like magical? It is the easiest way, and it is accessible to everyone. We all breathe, so anyone can do this. You don't have to be an athlete. You don't have to be a scientist. You don't have to be anything. You just have to be alive and able to breathe. I suggest finding yourself, if you're interested in breath work, finding yourself a somatic therapist. They are amazing at teaching you breathing techniques that can move you out of anxiety into calm, or when you're being triggered by PTSD, how to re-regulate yourself. Any of these things. They also incorporate movement, which is number 3. Moving your body is imperative. It doesn't have to be a strenuous movement. It can be dancing, it can be stretching, it can be rock climbing, it can be yoga, it can be running, whatever you want. But be fully aware that your body holds on to trauma. There is a tremendous book written about this. It is by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk. It's called Your Body Keeps the Score. So being able to shift energy, release it, move it out of your joints, and just create a free flow in your body. Again, somatic therapists, awesome at this. A lot of times we can't access our thoughts. We can't access our memories of traumatic experiences, but we're still carrying them around. And the way to gain access to them, and it might not even be a conscious awareness, but a way to gain access in a way that we can release some of these things, is through movement and through breath. Very, very important. The last thing that I put on here is acupuncture. And I put this here, even though I feel like it could fall into one of these other categories, is because people instantly think of needles. And a lot of times I feel like that is what holds them back from going to an acupuncturist. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt at all. I do not like needles. I love acupuncture. I was referred there by my therapist because she was so amazing. She knew that sometimes we cannot verbally express experiences or emotions that are tied to those experiences. So she had given me a whole bunch of other tools, acupuncture being one of them. And I can tell you this from my own experience. I walked in there, had one needle put in. I mean, obviously you get more needles put in, but I had one put in that I don't know what it did, but I started crying. Could not tell you what I was crying over, but it was the most necessary release. I left there feeling like I had just unpacked about 200 pounds of, I don't know, of heaviness or grief or trauma, whatever it was that I was carrying around. It was amazing. Acupuncture, now covered by insurance. If your insurance doesn't cover it, there are community acupuncturists where it is just more financially accessible. But I swear by acupuncture, I cannot live without it. I have great acupuncturists in my area and also in New York area. If anyone is interested, reach out. I can give you names and numbers. Okay, I'm gonna move over to now the mental, the mind part of our healing. And of course, number one is always therapy, right? Whenever we're having some kinds of mental or mental issue or mental dis-ease, and I'm not talking about diagnosed conditions. I mean, of course, yes, if you have a diagnosed mental health issue, then you, I am sure, have means of working through that. But for this platform, I'm just talking about heavy thoughts, repressed memories, those sort of things, right? So therapist, what I have to say about therapy is this: it is fantastic. I went to therapy for 8 years before I graduated because after 9/11, I discovered that I had opened up access basically to other traumas that I had experienced throughout my life that needed to be addressed. The thing is, you need to find a therapist that you align with. I cannot say this enough. It has to be someone who speaks your language, who sees life through a similar lens so that you could communicate clearly, right? I also think that you need to find a therapist who believes in incorporating not just talking, but other forms of healing like we're discussing here, because sometimes talking, there are only so many times you can retell your story, and often it is re-traumatizing. So we don't want to get caught up in situations like that, right? Find someone who is really invested and who is very interactive. So I've gone to therapists that have a notebook and they're writing things down and and how does that make you feel, Mrs. Olson? Like, what? I want some direction, right? I want some interaction, because that's why I'm here. I don't know what to do. I don't expect you to solve my problems, but I expect you to offer me different perspectives, reframe things, kind of suggest different healing modalities, right? So that's what I look for in a therapist. The next thing I want to talk about is journaling. Journaling is a really easy way to access things that you have difficulty speaking out loud. So for me, sometimes I really struggle with, you wouldn't know it, right? But I really struggle with putting things into words when I'm speaking. When I sit down to write, it just flows out of me. So for me, journaling, I've been doing it for as long as I can remember, probably since I was able to write. You can journal in many ways. You can use journal prompts, answer questions. You can even look those up online. They're everywhere. You can use word association. You can just free write, whatever calls to you. Make a gratitude list, and if you're afraid somebody's going to read your journal, write things down and freaking burn it. There is a ritual behind that is also a release. I would love to talk about rituals. I might do that on this Instagram at a different time. I'm not including it in this, but rituals are powerful. Burn it. Then you are not only letting go of that energy, you don't have to worry about people delving into your private thoughts. By the way, if you have people that are going to sneak and read your journal, maybe reevaluate that relationship, because that's very unclear boundaries and shitty, basically. The last thing I want to talk about when it comes to our thoughts are positive affirmations. Positive affirmations they are so effective. And I know people talk about these in the corniest of ways. So I know that there are some individuals that like to stand in front of the mirror and talk to themselves, just repeat these positive affirmations and look themselves in the eye. And there's something to be said for looking yourself in the eye in a mirror, because there are lots of people who have difficulty doing that. If you don't believe me, try it, see how you feel. But as far as positive affirmations go, I'm going to describe it to you like this. First, let me share this idea that I forget what the number is. It's tremendous. The number of thoughts that we have per day. I used to know it off the top of my head, but I don't anymore. So just for argument's sake, say that we have 100,000 thoughts a day, right? 80,000 of those thoughts they're not unique thoughts. They are thoughts that have been ingrained into our psyche and they replay over and over every day. That's crazy, right? So picture yourself standing in a field, right? And you want to get from A to B. And for your entire life, you've been told that to get from A to B, you have to follow this particular path. So you walk, this is how you go back and forth. What happens? You wear a path. And whenever you come to this field, you're going to walk that path because it's the easiest way to go. Now, those are your negative thoughts, right? If you want to shift from that into positive affirmations, and keep this in mind that our self-talk is, if we spoke the way to other people the way we speak to ourselves, we probably wouldn't have any friends. Our self-talk is usually really debilitating, right? So we're going to switch all of that and we're going to start with these positive affirmations. We're going to focus on our strengths instead of our weaknesses. We're going to let go of that voice. It might even be one of your parents that tell you you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not the pretty one, you're the, whatever it is. So you create these affirmations and you start repeating them to yourself, right? Now we're changing the path that we're taking. We're going to get from A to B by going in this different direction. What happens when you start traveling back and forth? You wear another path, right? Now, while you're busy switching up this pathway and only walking in this specific direction, what's happening to the other pathway? It's being overgrown again, right? This is how your brain works, and we always take the path of least resistance. So we want to create a new path, and that's the one that eventually we will always defer to, right? So that's how positive affirmations work. Choose some for yourself and write them down. Whenever you catch yourself in that negative self-talk, refer to your positive affirmations. Alrighty, now we're going to move to the spiritual. I put meditation as number one, and I find that a lot of people are they misunderstand meditation, at least from the point of view that I see it. It is definitely a practice, and when I say practice, you never perfect it. And the most powerful part of it is the quieting of our minds. And when I say quieting of your minds, I do not mean that you're not going to have any thoughts, right? Because a lot of meditation teachers, they're like, clear your minds of all thoughts, have an empty mind. Like, that you're human. That is not going to happen. Maybe the Dalai Lama could do it. I don't even know. I don't know if any human being can do that completely. There are monks that they say are capable of that. For me and the average human being, that doesn't happen. So don't beat yourself up if you have thoughts coming in. The thing about it is to develop an awareness around your thoughts rather than getting caught up in them. So they come into your mind, you're sitting, you're meditating, and all of a sudden your shopping list comes into your mind. Okay, you see it. It's like a cloud floating by. Do not get caught up in it. Just let it go. And this is the practice. You just keep bringing yourself back. A thought might come in. You bring yourself back. You don't get caught up in the thought and spiral out on it, right? This is also where positive affirmations can play a role. When we see these thoughts coming in, we can pay attention to the ones that are negative and realize, wow, this is how I talk to myself. This is what I spend a lot of my mental energy on. I want to change that, right? So that's what I say about meditation. You can start off simply with 5 minutes a day, and you do not have to beat yourself up over this. There are apps that you can follow. Insight Timer, one of my favorites. You can sit in complete silence, whatever calls to you. It's just creating space for stillness. That's all that it is, instead of always being in the hustle and bustle. The other thing that I put under this was prayer, because for me, prayer is it doesn't have to be a connection to a religion. It can simply be an acknowledgement and a gratitude that there is a guiding, organizing, delivering, or destroying energy that is inside of all of us. And it's because it's inside of all of us, it's also present in the collective, right? Matter is not able to be created or destroyed. So we're honoring everything that came before us and everything that will exist after us and our place in all of those things. So taking time just to be reverent. I mean, your reverence can fall on anything, but basically it's on life, right? The beauty and the chaos of this life. Energy work. That's something else I have under this category. Going for Reiki, going for intuitive energy work. There's all kinds. There's Eden energy. There's all different kinds of energy work. I am an energy worker. I have had energy work done. And the beauty of this is, again, that ability to access things, having someone to assist you in accessing stuck energy that maybe you're not able to access on your own, or it's taking too long, or whatever that is. It works. It works. I promise you it works. So that's under this category. The last thing that I want to speak of that I didn't put into any category is the healing energy found in nature. And the first one that I'm going to speak on is the ocean, right? Going to the beach. There is a scientific basis for the healing power of the ocean. First of all, sand. Sand is made out of quartz. Right? Quartz is a natural magnifier. That's why we use it in microphones. That's why we use it in clocks. That's why we use it in it is a natural magnifier. The ocean, there are negative ions present in the air around the ocean, right? They are magnified by the sand. So when you're laying on the beach and you feel super relaxed, you're in a passive meditation. This is not coincidental. This is scientific. There is also a cleansing quality of water, specifically water with salt. So when you jump into the ocean, you are giving your energetic body as well as your physical body a cleanse, right? It helps to heal wounds. It helps to lift depression, to clear out anxiety, to clear out any heaviness, especially in the heart area. You see me because I will literally sometimes rub Himalayan salt over my heart area before I go in the shower. Another thing important with nature, there is a practice called grounding, and it is literally being barefoot on the earth, absorbing all of the energy that the earth is giving off and being able to pull it into your body simply through the soles of your feet, or if you want to lay on the ground, through your entire body. This has been proven to be healing for different physical ailments, for different psychological uneasiness. Getting outside, walking barefoot. I do it every day when I walk my dogs. If I don't get to do it, you can literally take your shoes off and go stand outside on your front lawn for 10 minutes. It will create an effect. It grounds you. It pulls your energy back into your body. This is very important for people who spend a lot of time in their head. The next thing, trees. Trees have their own interconnectedness energetically underneath the earth. They are full of wisdom. They talk to one another. If one tree is lacking in something, then another tree is able to transport it through this little underground system that they have. It is literally magical, and it is true. You share energy with trees simply through the act of breathing. I went over this on another day. So embrace that, use that. When you go hiking in the woods and you are surrounded by trees, it's like getting super oxygenated. It puts all of this clear, clean, new energy into your cells. It changes your mood. It changes your physical well-being. So get out there, go for a hike, immerse yourself in the woods, even if you just sit there. The last thing is plants. Plants, we use them for nutrition, we use them for medicine, we use them to express love. All of these different things. Plants hold tremendous healing energy. You can use them through essential oils, you can use them through tinctures, you can use them through teas, right? These all come from leaves and from different parts of plants, flowers, trees, right? Herbs, all of it. Extremely healing. Look into those. I use them in essential oils. I don't use them in the usual way that people use them. I honor the essence of the plant. They are applied to specific points that are similar. Actually, not similar. They are the same as acupuncture points. It is a transformative practice. So these are all things that I have used, and I hope some of them are new to you. I hope you want to explore them. If you have any questions, I encourage you to reach out to me, because I really gave you the quickest and briefest overview that I could. But know that by utilizing any of these things, whether it is body-centric or mind-centric, whatever it is, you are creating change in all of these areas. Be aware of what requires tending to in yourself right now, and find a practice that addresses that, and you will be able to shift that delicate balance back into place, right? Put yourself back into a state of ease, a state of comfort. Oh my God, that was like, whew, I need to take a deep breath. I hope you got it all, but it will be here if you want to re-listen. And if you have any questions, please, please, please reach out to me. If you have any suggestions that I haven't mentioned here, throw them at me. I am always looking for something new. Again, not an exhaustive list. There are many ways to approach this, but as many as I could fit in 30 minutes. Okay, I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow.